Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Resistance Rundown, our very first official episode. We did a trailer reaction on Monday for the Last Jedi trailer, and we'll get into all that more in depth. But this show, we're going to discuss Star Wars movies, TV shows, books, theme parks, anything that is related to Star Wars.
Yep, basically.
So, unsurprisingly, the first thing we're going to talk about is The Last Jedi. The first official trailer for The Last Jedi hit Monday night. All 20 billion people watched it over the course of the last couple of days, I'm sure.
Very true.
And so we were just going to go over some of kind of our favorite moments and just some throwback shots that they kind of had in this trailer and just kind of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
So we both kind of talked about 4 shots. Otherwise, we'd all be talking about every shot in the trailer.
Every single shot.
We were obviously big fans of the trailer, in case that wasn't
just a little bit
obvious. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is our 4 favorite moments. Molly, you want to dig into yours first?
Sure. Please bear with me because I am still sick. Maybe more sick than what I was on Monday night whenever we were doing this. So there might be the occasional sneeze or tissue in the frame. But first of all, just the look on Luke's face whenever he sees the rock crack from her power, and that dialogue later as well. I am absolutely intrigued with the whole idea that Luke is almost fearful of Rey and what she's able to do. I think it's a very interesting twist in the story. They had already said, like, from Rey's point of view, that it would be how meeting your heroes can kind of be disappointing in real life, but to see it from Luke's point of view of she's way too powerful, I wasn't scared before, now I am. Love that. Might be one of my favorite moments of the entire trailer, actually, that whole little bit with them. And also, we've been hearing how great Hamill's performance is in this movie, and I feel like those 10 seconds with him in it like that
really
showed
really show
me
off,
just how genuine he is in this performance. And I mean, his face on that part, it is fear. Like, I just love that shot so much. Also, the porg, because I love porgs and I'm not gonna apologize for it. Hashtag Porg Nation. And the fact that this porg is imitating Chewie is like the cutest thing in the world. Let's just get behind that.
Yeah. You need a little moment of levity after the whole
the whole trailer
scene.
is like black, red.
Yeah.
Kylo might kill Leia. We don't know. But look, there's a porg and he's cute and he mimics Chewie. The third part for me is that battle between Phasma and Finn. I think Finn was one of those characters I was really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with him in this next movie, especially with the way that his arc ends at the end of TFA. Spoiler alert, he is unconscious. And so I'm excited to see him have his own battles to face, the consequences that he's going to face for leaving the First Order. And after reading Phasma's book, which we're going to talk about later in the show, super excited to see her utilized and see that showdown between those two characters. And then lastly, I think one of everyone's favorite moments or shock moments is Snoke torturing Rey. Just powerful, shocking. I feel like we've watched other reaction videos outside of our own, and literally everyone's face is the same. It's just, what is going on? And so really interested to see that, one of my favorite moments. And the fact that we've just talked about how powerful she is and the fact that she's overtaken by him. Yeah. Holy cow. Like, what does that leave in store for not just this movie, but for episode 9 and going past that? So, yeah, just 4 of my favorite shots.
Yeah, we both share, I think, a couple of favorite scenes and one favorite shot, that same shot that she's talking about with Snoke and Rey. I think it wasn't necessarily a favorite part, but I felt like I had to include it because it was such a shocking moment.
Yeah.
And we've seen, torture scenes and stuff with the Emperor and Luke and stuff like that, but never like the whole levitating and
bend you backwards,
all this like very powerful force manipulation. So that shot is pretty incredible. A couple of these shots to me I love because they're very reminiscent of original trilogy shots, or even a prequel shot I'm going to talk about, but the shot
Jonathan is not a prequel, that should be noted.
I'm sorry, and it's no judgment for anyone that is. For me, Just no. But the one shot is reminiscent that I do like is that opening toward the opening where Kylo is walking in with what looks like snow troopers or some sort of variant of stormtrooper. And it's that overhead shot, and it's very reminiscent of Anakin walking into the Jedi Temple.
That's true.
With the clone troopers in Revenge of the Sith. And so I don't know if that is
purposeful
to explain maybe what is fixing to happen, which I think is a good possibility.
Yeah.
The other shot that I love is that shot of whenever Finn and Phasma are going at it, and it's that shot on her helmet, and you can see Finn in the reflection and all that, the energy weapon. And to me, it's intense, but it reminds me of Vader at the end of Return of the Jedi, whenever he's being electrocuted by the Emperor and all that stuff. To me, very similar shots, so I'll really enjoy that part of it. And then also, I tell you, Luke's intensity, which we talked about it, but the look on his face is so... I was not nervous about Mark Hamill's performance in any shape, way, or form, but I was just curious about how Luke was going to be.
Yeah.
And to me, it's super intense, and I love the sheer terror on his face, and even to go from surprise to that super intense thing where he's talking about, I've seen this kind of before, but I tell you what, there were a ton of great shots, but those were just some of kind of our favorite shots.
Yeah.
Listed.
Agreed.
But man, and some great comparison things. I thought about even that look that Leia has on her face whenever all that with Kylo is being interchanged is very similar to whenever she's leaving Bespin and Luke reaches out.
Yeah.
And we already had, obviously we've had that with Leia in all the movies to some degree, but
yeah.
But even in Force Awakens, whenever, spoiler alert, Han dies, she feels it. And so I know she has to have a connection with Kylo in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. But I think they're really going to get into that in this movie.
I think so
particular.
Too. Pretty excited about that.
But if by some miracle you haven't seen this trailer, I'll include the link in the description box below.
That's right. Help everyone out here.
Yeah.
Well, we also had just a couple of things for Han Solo. We know that the production is wrapping up slowly. On our regular podcast before we started doing this, we talked about how Thandie Newton is done, Donald Glover is done, Paul Bettany's portion is over, as is Emilia Clarke.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Reich and Harrelson are the only two still on set out of the big names, of course, that we know about.
Right.
But they did throw a wrap party over the weekend, which means that shooting is winding down post-production. That long, arduous journey to May is about to begin. And then we did get a confirmation through Twitter from Ron Howard that Corellia is in the film, Han Solo's home planet.
Yeah.
So lots of speculation there about that and Kessel. So all these little things are slowly being confirmed.
Yeah, it's interesting because Ron Howard's been pretty great about just putting little bits and pieces out there. And I suspect that they may have been filming, or may have been editing a little bit this whole time. Just judging by some of the way that he was, it just kind of seemed like maybe they were. Which it makes sense to a certain degree that you would do. You would look at dailies and you would probably be assembling.
Yeah.
To know what you need to do, but
especially at this point, it's October.
Yeah. They've been shooting for quite a while with Ron Howard.
They've gone over the time period.
Yeah, way over.
3 months total. So
almost the entire length of the shoot, original shoot. But Howard has got some really great pictures up. One of what we think is the spice mines of Kessel.
Yep.
And a few other very apocalyptic, dust-looking shots. Check out his Twitter account and his Instagram at Real Ron Howard. He's got some great stuff.
You'll stay as updated as we do on movie news. So,
exactly.
For Han Solo. All right. Well, we want to move into our television portion.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of stuff coming up on the small screen. A little tiny show called Star Wars Rebels, coming up Monday, right?
Yes.
Is the premiere?
Yes, season 4 premieres on Monday, October 16th. It's going to be a 2-part episode. From what I can tell, they're doing both parts that night. The 2-parter is called Heroes of Mandalore. Obviously, part 1, part 2. Just throwing that out there. Interesting thing, if you guys don't watch the Star Wars show, which comes out every week, Dave Filoni was actually on there. So that's worth checking out because he talks a little bit about season 4 and just really his journey of doing all 4 seasons and where these characters are ending up from where they started. So if you're a big Rebels fan, that's definitely worth a watch. Just want to throw that out there.
Definitely.
But yeah, it starts on Monday. Season 3 wrapped up with the Ghost team being evacuated, or really saved, to the base on Yavin 4, which should sound familiar to all the Star Wars fans out there. And then in that same finale, Hera promised Sabine that their team would be helping her with a mission on Mandalore. So that's where we're picking up in Season 4.
Yeah.
We were fortunate enough to be in that panel at Star Wars Celebration, so we've actually seen the first episode. We're not going to be able to lord that over everyone's head for much longer, unfortunately. But we can say that promise that Hera made is happening in the first episode.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first episode a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit.
We can't talk about it, and we're not going to talk about it.
No, but Dave Filoni made the comment on that interview, there are no filler episodes this season, and
it definitely felt that way from the
based
first
on episode 1, yes, that
Yeah.
is true.
So if you haven't checked that out, you can check it out on Disney XD. They have an app, or just on cable.
Yep.
The app actually works pretty good. That's normally how we usually watch it.
Yeah. So we know in season 4 so far that it's going to go past the Rogue One timeline. That's been confirmed. But it's not going to show the Battle of Scarif. And so, Jonathan, what are some things that you were hoping to see happen in season 4?
Well, it's one of the things that we've talked about after the confirmation that they were going to be going past Rogue One. I almost assumed before they announced it that maybe it would wrap up with Rogue One.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too.
It seemed like a good stepping point.
Well, I feel like we're going to have a bit of a Rogue One situation here with storylines got to be wrapped up, friends, because these folks are not in the original trilogy.
No, and I think there's going to be probably a big battle, it looks like, on Lothal, from what we can tell.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be probably some big repercussions on that.
Yep.
Thrawn is back. We're going to touch on this.
He's got Rook.
He's got Rook.
Which is awesome.
They also announced, back in from I think it was New York Comic Con, that they're writing another Thrawn book.
Yes.
That's going to have Vader in it.
Yes.
So it makes me wonder, maybe how they're going to handle Thrawn.
Unless they have him going into the unknown,
and that's a good possibility.
Regions, which is
that's a good possibility. Personally, I would rather them do that than kill him off, because I think he's a great character
and has a lot of potential in the universe.
Yeah,
real.
Absolutely. So he's a popular character. So I think they will probably keep him around. But personally, I'm looking forward to more stuff with Thrawn. I would love to see Vader another time.
I think there's a good chance we will.
There's a good chance, and I think there's a good chance we may see the Emperor. I'm basing that on nothing from the fact that there's been some whisperings that Ian McDiarmid has been seen around the recording areas.
Well, and we know that we're having Tarkin.
Tarkin's back.
Not that he's in it very much. He's not the focus or anything.
No,
but we have seen him in a trailer in holographic form. So
yeah, and they've referenced Krennic from Rogue One.
Although I don't think he's actually going to be in it.
I don't think he's going to be in it, but I wouldn't be surprised to have a hologram or something pop up maybe at some point.
Possibility.
Or if they just mention him just to kind of keep tying all that stuff together.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious how they're going to tie it up. I know there's going to have to be some sad moments. Hera makes it out. I would assume. But
we know she at least makes
it out of Rogue One, out of
Scarif
battles, but. Anything's possible, and I'm just kind of curious. I've really enjoyed the show, especially the past 2 seasons. To me, have been really good.
Well, and that first trailer that they released at Celebration gave me chills.
Yeah.
But it's Hera narrating it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie, the way that they structured that trailer and the way that she narrated everything makes me feel like that she is one of the only ones that makes it out.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of melancholy in that intro thing.
Maybe Chopper. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
yeah. I think you have to wrap up.
She loses them in some way. We'll put it that way. Whether it's Ezra fully going off base and to the dark side, or whatever it is he's going to do. I think we're talking about a loss, quite a bit of loss.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's inevitable. It's got to happen.
Yeah. I am gonna need some closure for Kanan and Hera. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're going to get exactly what you want, and then
awesome. Yeah, exactly. In some terrible, heartbreaking way. Thank you, Dave Filoni.
That's going to be my guess. Anyway.
Is it bad that I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. As long as you give me some closure first, do it. No, I'm not that heartless. Also, I'm going to need some confirmation on Ahsoka because Dave Filoni has been teasing Ahsoka so hard.
Yeah, I think you're going to hear one way or another.
At Celebration, I just need to know.
Whether people like it or not, I don't know.
I really like Ahsoka, so I'm going to need some. Obviously, we're getting a lot more Mandalore, getting a lot of Lothal, just based on the trailers and where we're going with that. But really, I'm looking forward to how much this delves into the rebellion, into the beginnings of the rebellion, which we've gotten more through certain books. We got a little bit more in Rogue One, obviously. But just that tension of how you fight an enemy this big when the costs are so great, and who are going to stop at nothing to destroy you, and how you rally together people who are not quite to the place where they want to physically put up a fight because they know it could impact their entire world. Then really, I mean, the fact, I don't know how much further we'll go past Rogue One. We know it is going past Rogue One. But I can't wait to see what the destruction of Alderaan does to everybody. Because losing Organa, who is one of the huge, he and his wife, who are some of the huge proponents of the rebellion, ones that started the rebellion, I'm interested to see that actually play out into a storyline on film.
Yeah, so, I agree.
So looking forward to Rebels on Monday.
That's right. Check it out.
So be ready to hear us talk about the first part next Wednesday.
That's right. Definitely.
All right. Well, moving right along, we're going to move into the bookshelf because Jonathan is clever and titled all of our little segments today. And there have been several new novels that have hit from the galaxy far, far away. We've hit Leia, Princess of Alderaan from Claudia Gray, which I will probably talk about on a different day. We just recently had From a Certain Point of View come out, which is 40 short stories from people all across the Star Wars universe. I haven't ordered that one yet, but that is coming soon because I cannot wait to read it. But today I briefly want to talk about the Phasma novel. Delilah Dawson is the one that wrote this. I'm pretty sure this is her first Star Wars novel. And I'll admit that I was a little skeptical picking it up just because Phasma was so underutilized in episode 7. I just wasn't really sure how much of a big deal she actually was. Obviously, I think she's cool because she's played by Gwendolyn Christie. But I just wasn't sure. However, I would say that this novel is almost needed before The Last Jedi hits in December. So if you're a reader and you love Star Wars, pick up the Phasma novel. It is very cleverly told. We don't actually hear a lot from Phasma in the book. The funny thing is that her character present day is not in it hardly at all, which I think is very interesting. The majority of her story is told from a Resistance spy who has been captured by one of Phasma's rivals in the First Order, who is trying to figure out what her deal is because he kind of thinks that she's dangerous and that she's not necessarily who she is supposed to be. And you find out just how much she's marketed. Like, she's on all the posters for the First Order and like presented as this huge hero. And so I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that her rival is correct in that she is not who you think she is. And she's definitely not who you think she is at the end of TFA. At the end of TFA, she just kind of seems like a throwaway, shiny stormtrooper. And, you know, she had some bad luck with Han and Finn at the end. But let me tell you something. This is a character that doesn't forget anything. This is a character that doesn't forgive anything. And she is a deadly warrior. And so, just based on the trailer, I think a lot of that is going to be put into her character in The Last Jedi. And she is probably one of the most dangerous people in the First Order. I think she's more dangerous than Hux. I think that she's on par with Kylo Ren, just with her character and what she's willing to do to survive. And so, yeah, her battle with Finn in the trailer is so exciting for me, even more so after reading that book. So I suggest that you read it and just get you more excited for the confrontation that's going to come for her in the film in 2 months.
Yeah, I have not read it yet. I plan on reading it at least before The Last Jedi comes out.
Well, now I finished it, so you can borrow
That's right.
it.
I sometimes do better with audiobooks. I don't know about any of y'all out there.
And this is one that if you do love audiobooks, I would say listen to this one in audio. A lot of it is going back. I can't even think of the technical term for that right now.
Flashback.
Flashback. I was about to say foreshadowing. That's not what it is. It's flashbacks. Forgive me. I am sick, like I said. So I feel like reading it sometimes it might get a little monotonous because you're just like, oh my gosh, we're back on Parnassus again. Like, okay. Right. But to hear someone narrate it, I'm sure it would be highly entertaining. So
well, and a lot of Star Wars stuff is really produced super well. Like, and they have sound effects and music and all this kind of thing. So it really feels like part of the world. So if you haven't picked that up, check that out. Check out Claudia Gray's Leia.
Probably talk about it next week.
Yeah, and then definitely once we read from a certain point of view, we'll discuss that on the show as well.
Definitely.
So moving right along into the next segment, we're going to talk a little bit about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which for those of you that don't know, Disney is building two identical Star Wars lands in both in Anaheim and in Orlando. Which is great news for us because we're only about 3.5 hours from Orlando.
So you can guess how often we'll be there whenever it opens.
I'm planning on just having an apartment there. Actually, no, they'll be incredibly expensive. No. But anyway, so we have some new photos from the latest kind of construction areas there at Hollywood Studios. You can check out BioReconstruct on Twitter. They have a great Twitter account. They do all kinds of aerial photography all around Orlando. So thanks to them for letting us use these images. So we can see here, we can finally see some of the structural rings for the Millennium Falcon ride. There's going to be 4 of them. And from what we're hearing, there's going to be several cars kind of within those rings. 6 to 7 cars. And you can tell from the promotional imagery from Disney that it looks like 6 people will be in each kind of pod.
Right.
So you can kind of see just from this kind of how it's going to work. We've heard that supposedly you're not going to be able to see anybody else load and unload. Which, if they can pull that off, will be really incredible and kind of lead to that immersive
which
kind of experience.
That's been their marketing for this the entire time. So it's going to be an immersive experience. That it's just going to feel like you stepped into the Star Wars universe, that you're going to have consequences to your actions and what you do, including how you fly the Falcon.
Yeah.
And so that would keep in step with what they're already promising.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've even heard that there's not going to be any signs for the rides. I mean, like you're just going to have to know where to go. It's just kind of incredible.
And that will be lots of fun.
Yeah. And so Disney's released a lot of promotional imagery, both for the Falcon ride and the First Order ride, along with just some kind of overview. And back at D23, they released a really giant model.
Yeah. Wow.
And some of that doesn't translate as much to the Orlando park because the shape of the worlds are a little bit different, just because of the space that they have to fit in for each particular park.
Yeah. But
you're starting to get an idea of kind of how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And you can see from these photos, really the whole back part of the land for Orlando is going to be all building. Just for both the massive building they're building for the First Order ride, and then the building that is really shaping up on the Falcon side.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting. I think it's going to be absolutely incredible once they get everything finished with it. So normally at this part of the show, we would be taking your questions, but since it's been kind of a crazy week and we had plenty to talk about, we didn't ask for any of your questions this particular week, but for next show we will. So just send us an email at theresistancerundown@gmail.com and just put TRR in the subject line. That way we can know that is what you're sending us. Or you can always send us a tweet or on Instagram at ATL_movies. But since we don't have this week, we had a brand new trailer drop just a couple hours ago for a new experience that's landing at Disney Springs and at Downtown Disney in Anaheim. And that is the new Star Wars Secrets of the Empire, which is a interactive walkthrough VR, sounds crazy cool experience. Essentially, the gist...
That's really all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
It looks crazy cool, and you should just pay the money and do it.
Basically. Essentially, that you are on the planet of Mustafar. You're posing as a stormtrooper on some secret mission for Mon Mothma. So, pretty incredible. It's one of those things that VR technology is still really early going, but the Void is one of those that's really pushing the boundaries along with ILMX Lab.
Yeah.
And so it looks incredible. If it's as incredible as it looks, people will be paying that $30 all the time.
Pretty willingly, yes.
So it opens December 16th, and it looks like it's open through February 14th from what we're seeing online so far.
Yeah.
Tickets are $30
in Disneyland until January 5th.
January 5th, okay.
But December 16th for
Orlando.
Yeah. Once
We'll
again,
get it a little
we
first.
win. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And it looks like it is about a 15-minute walkthrough experience, kind of what we're looking at.
To be fair, Disneyland will get their park first, so you win some, you lose some.
That's right. Yeah, pretty much. And one last thing for today, we have a little segment called Today in Star Wars History 101. And just every week we'll kind of pick something that happens in that particular week. This is the extra nerdy segment. So today,
for the really dedicated
people. So today
I'm
on
not sure
October,
I'm one of those, but it's okay. I'm
Right.
just kidding. I'm here.
And today, on October 11th, in 1990, the very first Star Wars trilogy box set is released on VHS. And for those that you don't know, VHS is this ancient system that we used to use to watch videos. It was on a tape. Anyway.
It's time consuming. You had to actually rewind the dang thing.
Things.
It's really not worth it.
Pretty sure we own that set and probably every set that has ever come out of the original trilogy.
We come by this honestly through our parents.
Yes,
so thank you, Mom and Dad.
most definitely. Raised correctly.
That's right.
Well, this does it for the very first episode of the Resistance Rundown. If you liked this, all of our crazy ramblings, subscribe below and let us know what else you would like to see on the program. If you want to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, you can check out ATL_movies. You can also check out our website, AboveTheLineMovies.com. We do movie reviews and all sorts of movie-related topics.
Fun stuff, yeah.
Lots of fun things. If you would like to find me on Twitter and Instagram, I am @BeachJD.
And I'm not going to hesitate like I did on Monday. If you can find me on Twitter and Instagram @MCBeach.
Well, thanks for tuning in for this episode. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Resistance Rundown.
I just did something weird with my face. I'm real sorry. Let's just try that again.
We'll do this again. One for the blooper reel.
Yeah.